Did you know that the busiest McDonald's in the world was actually in Russia? It was opened in 1990. People started lining up the day before, and the first McDonald's served over 30,000 meals on the opening day. In 30 years, they opened over 800 restaurants inside of Russia. And then...
Well, McDonald's is selling its business in Russia in response to the war in Ukraine.
Наконец-то закрывается McDonald's.
But it was quickly reopened under a new brand. And today we're here in what used to be a McDonald's. Now it's Vkusno I Tochka, which means tasty and that's it. And we're going to go inside, show you everything that's changed, and taste test the food. Make sure to watch to the end to see the story of who bought it, for how much, and the terms of the deal. From the outside, it doesn't look like much really changed. It's exactly like every European McDonald's I've ever seen. This is a nice car. That one, not so much. Well, let's go inside and try it. We arrived at 4 o'clock p.m. on a Monday, and we couldn't even find a place to sit down. We had to wait for a table. It was so packed. The first big difference I noticed is the advertisements for their app. You can use it to order in advance and not have to wait, and to get bonuses by scanning a QR code. It's only on the app stores in Russia, and you can't download it if you have a phone located in another region. I also can't pay with my Visa or MasterCard because of the sanctions, and only Russian cards work here, even though it's on the sign. The menu was advertising Kind brand drinks, which is what they rebranded Coca-Cola as. They were also promoting their new seasonal hot punch. It's orange and ripe berry flavored, along with their new Mont Blanc burger, which is supposed to be alpine flavored, whatever that means. And some propaganda. This sign says quality, tasty, and that's it. This one was the most interesting to me. That same coffee, 100%. The menu language options included English, Chinese, Uzbek, Tajik, and Kyrgyz, along with Russian, of course. All of these items are new since the last time I was here at Vkusno I Tochka. They just added a hazelnut chocolate cappuccino, cheese triangles, a raspberry tartlet, and rock slide brownie. Along with burgers and wraps, they also have ciabattas, croissants, and quiche. They rebranded the Big Mac as the Big Special and removed the middle bun. They also have a Big Special wrap, which doesn't sound very appetizing, honestly. Their other burgers include the Grand and Grand Deluxe. By far, my favorite thing on the menu is the shrimp roll, which was on the Russian McDonald's menu before. It hasn't changed at all. There are 2 potato options, potato wedges and grand fries. There's no small option for potato wedges, only medium and large. The sauces haven't changed at all since before the sanctions. We'll show you in a second why, but some of the top flavors include cheddar, Thousand Island dressing, and garlic sauce. I thought it was funny that the menu had a special section just for loose leaf tea specifically, even though it has a hot drink section above. I think it's funny that they have more hot drinks than cold drinks on the menu because the winter is so cold, including a RAF, which is a drink I've only seen in Russia. They also have a spiced chai latte, flat white, Viennese coffee, and coffee glacé. Who knew that Russians are such McDonald's coffee snobs? I was really curious about the loose leaf tea selection as an American. They didn't have any brand on anything, just these little pictures of what kind of tea it was, and the selection was really large. You would definitely never see this in an American McDonald's. The cold drink section was lacking. There was only 3 kinds of soda you could see because they have this little badge that says it's a gassy drink on it. But those are made by who took over the Coca-Cola factory. And then they have Lipton tea, which is branded. But the picture is still brandless. They have as many different variations of iced coffee and milkshakes as they do of soda. They replaced the McFlurry with the Ice Deluxe. The only flavors are pineapple and brownie. If you want caramel, you have to get a sundae. The dessert menu was such an odd assortment of things. They had applesauce in a pouch, which is basically baby food, along with macarons and sirniki, which are these little cakes made out of fried sweet cheese. It's not cottage cheese because it's dry. And on the other hand, they had really fancy cakes like tiramisu and ricotta cake with pear, which I've never even tried. I thought most of those things were pastries, but in fact, they have a whole other section which includes ciabattas, croissants, and cookies, which I thought were desserts. It's strange that some things are still unbranded while others have brands on them. I ordered a shrimp roll, potato wedges, an orange raff, caramel sundae, and a Mont Blanc burger, and it cost $14.70 roughly. Russian cards have a special chip in them that make them work on the national processing system. My card doesn't work, like I said earlier. McCafe was rebranded as Cafe, and that's it. It has all of the same equipment that McCafe had before it, and all of the pastries and loose leaf teas that we talked about earlier. They do look pretty good. Here's the food that we ordered. You can see there's at least a brand here. This isn't really branded. Neither is this. Neither is this. Neither is this. The sauce was by far the most recognizable item because they just took a Sharpie and wrote over the McDonald's logo. It's exactly the same sauce as before the sanctions. They've been doing it for over 8 months and they still have this sauce. So I don't know if they're taking it from Europe or if they just had that much sauce before the sanctions. Even though there's more than 10 different kinds of coffee on the menu, the only thing to distinguish mine was a sticker that says orange. By Russian law, all food items, including fast food, have to have nutrition facts that state how much sugar, fat, and calories are inside. There was almost nothing else written on my shrimp roll. Besides the missing logo and branding, nothing else seemed different about the ice cream. The most branded thing was this paper on our tray, which again advertised their app. They're obviously very proud. It may look very different, but the question is, does it taste different? It's fried cheese, I guess. Burger patty. Piece of bacon inside. This looks like a McGriddle. Still bread, yeah. The meat has something strange to it. People said that in the comments before. It definitely has a odd meat taste. How's the bacon? Let's try the bacon. The bacon doesn't look great, I gotta say. I'm not impressed. Russia doesn't really have bacon. It tastes good. I can definitely say that there was nothing alpine about the flavor of this Mont Blanc burger. This is a shrimp roll. Some shrimp and teriyaki kind of sauce inside.
It's the best thing on the menu for sure.
Always was, always will be. Garlic sauce here, which looks very garlicky. It's very soft and even white inside, almost like a baked potato. Not really a fry. It's ice cream. Can't be mad at that. It's not frosty, but it smells delicious. What is it? It's got rum in it? I don't know what a raff is. Do you? I just know it's Russian. You mentioned they invented it in St. Petersburg. Very orangey, like orange liquor or orange candy. More orange than coffee for sure. The foam's really good. It's not coffee.
Leave some foam for me.
Okay, here. I'm sorry. Take the foam. Listen, it's not great. It's not amazing. It's still McDonald's food, right? I would say the meat is worse. It has some strange quality about it, like they added some artificial ingredient to make it taste like it was on a grill. But it doesn't taste like Burger King. It doesn't taste like McDonald's. It's not right. Also, it's dry. These very dry. Don't like them. I don't know what's wrong. They have great potatoes here. I guess they just don't know how to work a fryer. You have to be really dumb not to know how to work a fryer. But anyways, shrimp roll is amazing. I would never find garlic sauce, I don't think, in America. And it's my favorite thing to order. The ice cream is very good ice cream. I mean, you can't mess up ice cream also. It's not a Frosty, so it's different. But I'd say, like, it's still very good ice cream. This thing, I don't know. I don't know what a raff is, really. I think it's my first one in my life. My girlfriend liked it, so she can say, I guess, the review on that. What do you think?
That's good. I love it.
All right, good. One of the biggest questions I had about the new McDonald's is, has anything changed logistically? I tried to spy on the kitchen to see if anything had changed. From the beeping, I think they have all the same equipment. Everyone was working so fast, and they had twice as much staff, which I guess makes sense because according to the New York Times, they have twice as much business on average as U.S. McDonald's. The uniforms didn't seem to have changed at all, except for this guy you see in the sweater, which is covered by Vkusno I Tochka logos. He must be the manager because he came over to ask me why I was filming, and when I said YouTube, he just rolled his eyes at me. They have the same heater for the fried pies as in McDonald's, but the label is in Russian. They didn't change the logos at all on the toilets. It's funny because in Russia, they always put a no smoking sign on the guy's toilet. Girls' toilets don't have no smoking signs, but there's also no handicap on the guy's toilet. So apparently, if you're handicapped, you get to go to the girls' toilet. The bathroom was impeccably clean. I mean, I wouldn't eat in there, but maybe you could. My girlfriend always jokes that the only purpose of McDonald's is to use the toilet. Well, she's right about something. They keep very exact records of when the toilet was cleaned on the schedule. By Russian law, they also have a book for complaints. It's labeled Consumer Corner. Also, because of Russian laws, they have to put at the bottom of every advertisement that the food that you're served may look different than the food that you see in the picture. What do you think? Does my food look different than the picture? One announcement kept playing on repeat. There weren't any others, and it said, "Something is changing, but the reliable job stays the same." When the new Russian ownership bought McDonald's, they didn't fire any of the 62,000 employees that McDonald's had working here in Russia. So let's see, how much money can you make working in Vkusno I Tochka today, 8 months after the sanctions? In this case that says, "I'm here to make money!" there was 2 flyers. One of them was an advertisement, and the other was the actual application form that you could fill out. The ad pamphlet says, "The same job, where you can pick your own hours." It had 2 pictures of the same guy looking happy and depressed working, which I thought was funny. And it was advertising for the night shift, so maybe he was depressed because he had to work the night shift. At the bottom of the pamphlet, they had a link to their careers website, workandthat'sit.ru. The advertised salary says 67,000 rubles, which is about $1,100 a month. What's interesting is it says up to 67,000 rubles, not from 67,000 rubles, which is what they usually do in Russia. The asterisk at the bottom of the page says that you only get 67,000 if you work 168 hours a month and you get all of the bonuses. So at 168 hours a month, that's about $6.60 an hour, which is less than the $8 an hour entry-level wage in Texas for a McDonald's worker. At McDonald's in the U.S., a cashier makes about $28,000 a year, whereas here in Russia at Vkusno I Tochka, at $1,100 a month, you'd only make $13,000 a year. The only requirement to get a job here is to be 18 years old and to have a Russian passport. Also, one of the bonuses is you get free food every day. We don't eat a lot of fast food, so by the end of recording all of this, the effect had set in, and I don't feel great right now, I gotta say. But like, not poison. We did get poisoned the last time we were here, but this time I don't feel that poison. I think we're okay. Just gross. The things I'll do for a YouTube video. Besides being 2 times as busy as McDonald's in the US, another major difference with Russian McDonald's was the ownership model. In the US and other countries, McDonald's usually owns the real estate and sells the business to franchisees who pay rent, and that's how McDonald's makes most of its money, franchise fees plus collected rent. But in Russia, before the sanctions, McDs still wholly owned 84% of their 800-plus Russian locations. In these cases, there were no franchisees. Some say this made them more profitable, but also more exposed to risk. The Russian market was 9% of all McDonald's revenue in 2021. They suffered $127 million in losses for the first quarter alone. They had to make haste to offload their assets and cover these losses, and they did just that. In less than 3 months, they reached a deal with a single individual, Alexander Govor, who had licensed 25 Siberian McDonald's before the sanctions. That's about 20% of all the existing franchises. The terms of the deal are fascinating. The first was that Govor had to agree to keep on all the employees for 2 years. Some criticize this as a form of aid. He also agreed to pay existing obligations to suppliers, which is probably why they're still selling Heinz sauce and using a Sharpie to mark over the McDs logos. While the exact price of the deal was never disclosed, the word on the street in Russia is that it was about 100 times lower than the actual value of the stores. McDonald's is maintaining the trademark to its logo in Russia, and nobody but McDonald's is allowed legally to use it. Not that that ever stopped anybody. While McDonald's officially left with no intention to re-enter the market, part of the terms, released by the Russian Anti-Monopoly Authority, not by McDonald's, were that McDs is able to buy back the restaurants anytime in the next 15 years. With all these facts, it definitely looks like Mickey D's plans to re-enter the Russian market in the future and re-arch the country. The CEO of McDonald's himself said, "Let us not end by saying goodbye, but instead let us say as they do in Russia, do novoi vstrechi, until we meet again." Russians always called McDonald's Mac. And when I arrived here, I noticed that nobody calls it Mac anymore. They have been able to effectively rebrand it so that everybody calls it Vkusno I Tochka. Russians don't even joke that it's a knockoff or the restaurant formerly known as McDonald's, which is an impressive feat of PR. It seemed paradoxical to me that then so much of the messaging is about how things stayed the same. For instance, the new logo is still an M, even though it's not golden arches. But the more I thought about it, the more keeping things the same makes sense. McDonald's was really symbolic for Russia because it was one of the first brands to come here after the fall of the Soviet Union. And by keeping it around as Vkusno I Tochka, it shows people that things haven't changed that much. You can still get a burger and fries at basically the same restaurant, served by the same employees, which I think is very impressive. And if you thought this was interesting, check out my other video on the sanctions right here. Have a great rest of your day.